Was this the best Rampage event that Utopia has ever done? Welcome back to Fomo or No-Go, the series where you can find out if this event was a FOMO or if it was a no-go. For this video, I'm primarily going to be focusing on the event as a whole rather than on an artist by artist basis. If you want to see more of my content and me breaking down each of these artists individually, you can check back on all of my social media such as TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Utopia hosted their 6th Rampage event on the 6th of February at Chase's nightclub in South Yarra, with a stacked lineup including Phantom, Detailed, Vasto, Adjust, Xpros, and Audio Freak. Rampage also included a local lineup of MJU, Sparta, Horseplay, Alex M, and Aggro doing a 5-person versus set. Opening the doors of Chase's nightclub at 9 PM, the night started out very busy with a line that went on for a large portion of the street. Phantom began the night bringing a great vibe, playing some of his own edits and tracks that he's been featured on recently. As the line decreased and the venue filled in, it got very busy, especially when Phantom was coming to a close on his set and Detailed began his Melbourne debut. The vibes were something I haven't seen for a while in the Melbourne scene, and it was very much appreciated. 2 hours into the Rampage event, the downstairs of Chase's nightclub was pretty full of Raw style fans. It was great to see such support for a newer artist, with all of the crowd kick rolling, dancing, and even chanting along to some of his songs. As Detail's set came to a close, the upstairs section of Chase's nightclub opened up, allowing for an alternative view, chance to get inside the air conditioning, and for people to have more space to dance. As the night went on, the crowd only got bigger and bigger, which filled out the up and downstairs quite well. Vasto, Xpros, and Adjust all delivered amazing sets. They definitely pushed the vibe forward, and I overheard a lot of conversations about people wondering what was going to be a surprise act. Was it going to be international? When Xpros' set had finished and it was unveiled that it was not an international artist, I know a lot of ravers were pretty disappointed and decided to call it a night. Which meant that the crowd had dissipated a significant amount, leading the venue to close the upstairs balcony of the venue, meaning that the crowd was significantly smaller than what people had anticipated for Audio Freak's set. And although the crowd had gone down a significant amount, the people who remained were very energetic for Audio Freak. For the positives, the vibe was, like I said, something that Melbourne hasn't seen in a while. Often I see crowds at events are so filled with people who don't actually know the music or seem to really enjoy it as much as they think that they should, and they act like zombies, munching their own gums rather than engaging with the artists and dancing on the dance floor along to the music. That was not the case at this event. It felt like majority of the crowd knew exactly what they were listening to and were kick-rolling, dancing, and chanting along to everything to the point where the floor was shaking underneath my feet. The lineup of internationals, in my opinion, was also really well thought out and clearly was filled with a style of music that Melbourne embraced wholeheartedly. I also want to mention that I appreciate the support of the local scene with artists such as Phantom, MJU, Sparta, Horseplay, Alex M, and Aggro being included and allowed a spotlight, rather than just primarily focusing on the international artist acts. And though I have a lot of positives that I can say about the event and Utopia's handling of the night, there were some things that I would like to see a little bit different in the future. Such as allowing for the availability for ravers to enter the venue before the main acts start so that people don't miss out on artists that they want to see. In particular, I had some friends who, like me, had entered the queue around about the start of the night, but hadn't really actually gotten into the venue until midway through Detailed's set. I also think, as a whole, doing the secret act thing adds an interesting concept to an event, and it affords a little bit of a mystery for the ravers, but it has to be planned out properly. If an event is planning to advertise an act and allow for that mystery to build, it should follow through with something that's worthy in the opinion of the ravers. Event companies such as HSU have done secret acts in the past and have always followed through and beaten expectations of the consumers. This time around, I felt that unfortunately hadn't met the mark, as some people's expectations were rather high and they were really sad to see that they were not met. If instead Utopia had marketed it as a secret local act or local artist spotlight, I feel that people would have been more receptive and less let down, leading to a larger retention of the crowd for Audio Freak's set. And though I do respect and appreciate the spotlight of local artists, it's the smaller details that build into a larger thing in the grand scheme of things. In the end, I do feel that Utopia did put on a really great event that had the feeling that Melbourne scene has been craving for a while, and ultimately it was a success for Melbourne, Utopia, the artists, and most importantly, the ravers. I'm very keen to see where Utopia as a company goes in the future, and I hope that they can maintain the momentum that they've built, giving a healthy level of competition to bigger event companies such as Hard Candy, No Sleep, and Evolution. The scene thrives the most when the smaller event companies are also succeeding, allowing for more variety than just the same recycled A-list internationals, allowing for newcomers, less prestigious, but also well-respected artists and locals. Location-wise, I'm going to give Chasers a 7 out of 10, being a great venue, but it can be pretty hot and sweaty at times. Travel to Chasers is a 9 out of 10, with local transport such as trams and trains not being too far off of the venue, with a bunch of great parking if you know where to go. Stage effects get an 8 out of 10, with lighting, lasers, strobes, CO2 and LED panels being on the higher end of what you'd expect within a club, and it was great and it fit the vibe. Busyness is going to get an 8 out of 10 as the venue was very busy and a bit stuffy, but it wasn't a fully sold out show, which meant that if you were upstairs or off to the side, you had a bit of room. The lineup for the event gets a 9 out of 10, and I personally wouldn't change much, mostly just the positioning of the secret act. And overall, Utopia Rampage gets a 9 out of 10, which means it firmly fits into the FOMO category, and I'd recommend you make it out to the next event. Hey, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Commenting on this video and leaving your thoughts really does help. And if you want to see some short form content where I go more into detail about what artist did well, didn't do well, what I would consider to be a FOMO or a no-go, or who had the set of the event, make sure to go over to my Instagram, my TikTok, or even here on this YouTube channel, where I've got shorts, Instagram videos, and TikTok videos.